I think the refs had a lot to do with that. It was a build-up for a couple of years now of them just not protecting, the star player of the WNBA. And so at the end of the day, I'm going to protect my teammates. That's what I do. And I'm a team player, so it's all good.
Forget the fouls, forget the fines. A player has just taken unprecedented legal action against WNBA referees. This isn't just about one game, or even one season. This is about a systemic failure to protect the league's biggest star, and it's finally ignited a firestorm that could change professional sports forever.
You should have had the second jersey WNBA I bought. I did not know that you were so proficient in holding the back of a girl's head while talking shit to her. She defended Caitlin Clark from that flagrant foul, which they didn't call flagrant for some reason last night. And she had her titled up. And then the rest of the Don Imus crew came up and tried to, separate it and whatever. But let me just tell y'all this. Sophie Cunningham, thank you for defending Caitlin Clark. Somebody in the WNBA has to protect the brand, and it's not going to be the EBT members. So thank you for protecting the greatest female basketball player of all time. I was unfamiliar with your work. I've seen the walk-in videos. I've seen all the other stuff. I didn't know you had hands.
So we will take all media questions today, but we're just supposed to read from a script, and that's exactly what I'm going to do here. On behalf of my teammates and every member of our union, I want to be very clear that we remain committed to negotiating the next CBA with the league and the teams in good faith and privately. But we do want to set the record straight, not for the headlines, but for the fans who support us and deserve transparency. What's at stake? This is a defining moment in the WNBA. As the league grows, it's time for the CBA that reflects our true value. We are fighting for a fair share of business that we built because it is a business. We are fighting for anything. We are not fighting for anything that's unreasonable.
For years, a silent frustration has simmered within the WNBA, particularly regarding the treatment of its undisputed golden goose. This generational talent has consistently faced an onslaught of aggressive, often uncalled fouls that many view as blatant targeting. This isn't about the physicality of the game, it's about a pattern of systematic negligence by officials who seem to turn a blind eye to obvious fouls, leaving this player vulnerable and unprotected. It's a buildup that reached its boiling point, forcing a fellow player to step outside the lines and demand accountability for a problem the league has refused to fix.
This is a message for the WNBA. Do you realize that what you have in Caitlin Clark is a once-in-a-generation talent? She was massively successful in college, and that's transcended into the WNBA, where she's leaps and bounds above pretty much most every player there. You're allowing her to get beaten up on the regular during games, flagrant fouls, people trying to take her eye out. That's happened a couple different times last year and this year. And you're not protecting your asset.
All right, enough is enough. At some point, the line gets crossed too often where something needs to be done and things need to be corrected. And that is certainly the case with the way things around Caitlin Clark are officiated. This is a constant problem now. It is something that since the beginning, I've kind of backed off on because physical play is a part of sports. Going after a superstar and trying to rough them up a little bit to get in their head is a part of sports. But when it crosses the line, the referees need to do their jobs. They need to do their jobs, blow the whistle, and officiate properly. Hand out flagrants, kick people out of games, nip it in the bud.
The breaking point arrived during that explosive Tuesday night game against a rival team, where we witnessed yet another chapter in the ongoing saga of the star being treated like a human punching bag while referees stood by and watched. The player was absolutely hammered. She was poked in the eye and then shoved to the ground while still reeling from the injury. But here's the truly outrageous part. Somehow, the referee slapped her with a technical foul for what they called unsportsmanlike conduct. Let that sink in for a moment. The victim of multiple assaults gets penalized while her attackers walk away with minimal consequences. It's basically open season on the league's biggest name, and the special whistle she supposedly gets is actually blowing in the opposite direction.
Right. These girls have been grinding to grow the game of basketball in the WNBA. They've been grinding to grow the sport to the world, the viewerships. They've been grinding for all of this. And then you have this girl that comes along from college and is an instant change. She's handed pretty much being the face of the league. There's going to be girls that are offended by that. And there's going to be girls that think she's got to earn it and she doesn't deserve this early. She's handled it great. I think she's performed last year. She's performing again this year. I think she's the rightful face of the NBA.
Caitlin Clark got destroyed. Her girl Sophie came to her defense, and this was the most beast mode thing that I've seen a woman do in WNBA history. Now watch this, what they did to Caitlin Clark, and then we're going to play the clip of Sophie Cunningham. Roll the clip.
I mean, is that displacement? I think it is. Oh, and Marina Mabry's going to get ejected. If the officials saw that, Marina Mabry is going to get ejected. Oh, they're going to go and look at it. Look at Mabry. She's got a scar on one side, a scratch on one side of her face, a scratch on the other side. It's not from the game today. I asked her about it. She's always in the mix. There's a lot of contact here.
Then, something different happened. This time, the Star had an enforcer. A teammate who had watched this pattern repeat itself game after game finally decided enough was enough. With just 46 seconds left on the clock, as an opposing player made a steal and headed for what should have been an easy layup. This teammate delivered a message that resonated far beyond the confines of the arena. She physically intervened, making it abundantly clear that if the refs wouldn't protect the Star, she would. This wasn't just a foul, it was a statement, an act of defiance that electrified fans and served as a stark warning to anyone targeting her fellow player.
In fact, she gets a technical foul after getting poked in the eye and then shoved to the floor, and Marina Mabry doesn't even get thrown out of the game. It's basically open season on Caitlin Clark, and the special whistle that she supposedly gets goes in the other direction. Flagrantly so. They got to put it to an end. I mean, she's the most valuable player in the league in the most literal sense. And somehow she gets the opposite of superstar treatment. And that's what you saw with the Connecticut Sun and Indiana Fever. The Fever won the game. Of course they won the game. Of course they won the game. They're better.
Caitlin Clark is the golden goose. Every game she is dropping golden eggs. And they are trying to strangle the golden goose to death. There's jealousy. There is hate. Everyone in the league seems to hate the fact that Caitlin Clark is making the league relevant. If I were advising Caitlin Clark, I would say start your own pro basketball league for women. I don't know why she benefits from the WNBA at all. She could go out. She is the draw for women's basketball and set up her own league. She might even be able to own the majority of the league. She could probably become a billionaire. Set it up with far fewer teams. You play far fewer games. Heck, they did it with Live Golf. I think the audience would follow Caitlin Clark wherever she goes.
What happened next was unprecedented in league history. Within 24 hours, this protecting teammate went from having fewer than 400,000 followers on TikTok to over 1.2 million, with her Instagram following growing by more than 700,000 fans. This wasn't just viral fame. It was a cultural moment that revealed how desperate fans were for someone, anyone, to finally stand up for the league's biggest draw. Her jersey sold out completely, and fans weren't just supporting her, they were celebrating her, calling her the enforcer. When she finally addressed the media, her words cut through the diplomatic nonsense like a knife through butter. She was there to protect her teammates, plain and simple.
Y'all ain't really tapped in, because Sophie Cunningham been crashed out. She been popping it like overly. They been saying she wasn't all her hair, and I knew this. Y'all, I ain't gonna lie. Y'all lucky she wasn't in the game when it happened. Y'all lucky she wasn't in the game, because Marina Mabry would have got the pause for real. I ain't gonna lie. The girl, I don't even know the little girl that got in the clinch. I ain't gonna lie, she did her dirty. I was just waiting for the knees. I was waiting for the high knees. Because they said she was a black belt. I didn't know she was a black belt, but I know she was a popper. I know she was with all the smoke. She ain't never dunking no smoke ever.
So we're 25 days away from All-Star, just under 4 weeks. That's clock. The clock is ticking. We came out here and played most of every night in front of these fans. We will continue to do that, but the current system is unsustainable for us, and that means it's unsustainable for the business that we have created. Nothing short of transformational change will do for the future we see, and the fans clearly that we see. So we're paying attention. Everyone's paying attention. This is a business. This is about our players, and so if they're not meeting us, then we're not going to meet them.
But let's be honest about what we're really discussing here. This isn't just about numbers or competitive basketball. This is about a pattern of targeted harassment that would be unacceptable in any other professional sports league. The star player has revolutionized league attendance, with her team's games drawing over 15,000 fans, a significant jump from 7,000 for non-appearances. Her road games boost attendance by a staggering 87%, and she drives 33.5% of total league attendance. The numbers don't lie about her impact. Yet, the league continues to allow its most valuable asset to be repeatedly assaulted, almost as if they're strangling the golden goose. This isn't just poor officiating, it's a massive business blunder. Her team saw it coming. They signed her protective teammate, a 6-year black belt, just like a famous basketball team once signed an enforcer to protect their superstar.
Are we even surprised about this? Sophie Cunningham's jersey sales just passed Caitlin Clark's after she goes viral overnight for protecting Caitlin Clark in a game where she got fined $400, which Caitlin Clark apparently is paying for. But yeah, we found our new queen at Indiana.
The fan reaction to this teammate's stand has been nothing short of explosive, with supporters demanding that officials face serious consequences for their systematic failure to protect the star. Fans are no longer content with diplomatic statements and empty promises. They want accountability, and they want justice for the player who has single-handedly saved their league from irrelevance. Social media was flooded with support, with fans calling the protecting teammate a hero and demanding that more players follow her example. Even basketball legends and prominent sports figures have praised her actions, calling the star player the best thing to happen to women's basketball. The growing outcry culminated in a lawsuit against the officials.
The Fever saw it coming. They went and got Sophie Cunningham, 6-year-old black belt. This is what the Bulls did with Charles Oakley to protect Michael Jordan. Watch the retaliation later by Sophie Cunningham. And again, this is inappropriate, right? No, it's what happens in basketball.
The evidence of systematic targeting is overwhelming and undeniable. Experts who have done extensive research watching tape of rookies for the past 27 seasons are adamant. The star is being defended differently than any other rookie who has ever stepped onto a professional court. This isn't conjecture, it's documented fact. She has been poked in the eye, shoved, hip-checked, and subjected to flagrant fouls that would result in ejections for any other player. Yet she's the one who receives technical fouls for simply reacting to being assaulted. The league's own admission that officials lost control of a recent game is a damning indictment of their officiating standards. It validates every criticism leveled against their referee corps. Yet despite this admission, no meaningful changes have been implemented to protect the star or hold officials accountable. This is compounded by recent integrity crises, where individuals involved in officiating have been fired following investigations, proving that problems run deeper than mere incompetence.
The WNBA refs are the worst. They really are the worst in the WNBA. Some of these women's refs, I don't know if you feel this way, Angel, but they have a long way to go.
It's been like that for a while. I don't know what it is. It's like, but they go to ref school. I don't understand.
They're going to the Phoenix University of ref schools.
They're going to DeVry.
Yeah, bro.
So, what's next? The reality is that the star's fans have options that didn't exist before her arrival. They've already proven they'll follow her anywhere, to different cities, different venues, different television networks. While the current league continues to allow its star player to be targeted and abused, other organizations are positioning themselves to offer her the protection and respect she deserves. It's time the league remembers they need her far more than she needs them. There's a growing sentiment that she would be better off starting her own professional basketball league for women, much like a certain golf league revolutionized its sport. With her immense drawing power, she could set up a league with fewer teams and games, potentially becoming a billionaire.
Caitlin Clark is a really hard player to officiate, much like Diana Taurasi was throughout the course of her career, for a couple of reasons. Caitlin Clark regularly gets picked up in the full court. She also gets blitzed more over the course of her career than any player in WNBA history or in that period of time. And she also creates some contact herself on the offensive end of the floor. She is very difficult to officiate because of all of the contact that's happening around her all of the time. That being said, I was in contact with a number of WNBA coaches yesterday about this topic of the officiating in the WNBA, and all of them said it needs to get better, specifically the consistency, not only from one game to the next, but the consistency within a game. One coach told me, we tell our players to be as physical as they can possibly be for 40 minutes because we know for 38 of them, they're pretty much going to get away with it. So I think
the protective teammate has delivered a wake-up call that the league can no longer ignore. Her legal action represents more than just one player standing up for her teammate. It represents a fundamental challenge to the league's broken system of accountability. When players are willing to risk their careers to protect each other from systematic abuse, it's clear that the current system has catastrophically failed. The fan response to her stand has been overwhelming, with supporters demanding that the league finally address its referee problem or face the consequences. They can continue to find players who protect their teammates while ignoring the systematic targeting of their biggest star, or they can finally implement the changes that everyone knows are necessary. The choice is theirs, but the consequences of inaction are becoming clearer every single day.